At this time, I'd like to recognize our Dean of Students, Mr. Ray.
All right, so full disclosure, when I was practicing this speech earlier, I cried no less than 3 times. So we'll see how this goes. Well. Here we are. Welcome, everyone, to the 2019-2020 Cedars International Next Generation High School graduation ceremony. Welcome to the teachers that help provide an education to these amazing young adults. Welcome to the friends and family members that supported them along the way, especially the parents, who likely served as counselors, chauffeurs, cleaners, schedule managers, bankers, and a time or two, probably wardens. Anyone who lived in the house with these students, at one point or another, was likely exposed to late-night stresses due to PBL. Sorry. You have all played an important role in helping to get these students here today. And of course, last but not least, welcome to your high school graduation, class of 2020. I'm very glad to see all of your mask-covered faces from at least 6 feet apart. These students will forever be remembered as the first freshman class of our school, and the very first graduating class to go through all 4 years of high school with us. This group doesn't look like the one that started here back in the fall of 2016. You lost some faces along the way and gained a few more. You've had to say goodbye to friends who found homes elsewhere and have graciously accepted others looking for a home at our school. But those of you who are here today have all proved yourself to be outstanding members of our school community and all around great human beings. At numerous times in the past few years, you have each developed and exemplified the core values of our school: respect, responsibility, integrity, trust, and perseverance. You created a lasting legacy for all future Raptors by helping to establish our Key Club and our Student Council and our NHS. You led your peers in houses and helped to model our school culture for the younger students. And here you are, ready to enter the next chapter of your life. And what an exciting chapter it will be. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Stuart Ray. I first met this class in the middle of their sophomore year as their new biology teacher. I also had them again as juniors for chemistry. And while this may sound normal, our situation was a bit unique in that not only were they my students, they were my only students, because I was also spent the last 3 years serving as their Dean of Student Services. I feel this gives me a unique connection with these students, and it is an honor to stand here today, preparing for them to graduate from high school. Now, normally commencement speeches are about giving advice for the future and reminiscing on things of the past, but instead, I would like to share some lessons that you all taught me, and hopefully there's a nugget or two in there that you can take with you. I wanted to open this up with a really corny joke, as I am wont to do. Something about how they always say senior year will fly by, but we never expected it to zoom. But I'm sure you're all really sick of my corny jokes at this point. I think it is safe to say that 4 years ago, as you were finishing up middle school and registering for a brand new high school, and as we were preparing to open that school, not one of us ever imagined that we would be here at a graduation ceremony during a global pandemic. But things change. And if there's one thing you can always bet on, it's that life will throw you curveballs and life will change. That brings me to my very first lesson from this group. One thing that I had to learn quickly: always be willing to adapt. In the fall of 2016, I was lucky enough to be invited to Beijing, China, to present a school redesign project I had been working on with some of our students, a few of which are here right now. At this time, I was teaching 8th grade science in a senior environmental systems elective. Little did I know that when I left for China, the classes I was teaching would not be the classes I was teaching when I came back. I can very clearly remember sitting in a hotel room by myself in Jingzhou, China, preparing for my presentation the next day when I got a call from Mr. Zipkis. Now, at first I thought this was kind of weird. There's a 13-hour time difference. It was the middle of the night in Austin. And then I remembered that Mr. Zipkis doesn't sleep. So I quickly answered the phone and was told that when I came back, I would no longer be teaching my students. Instead, I would be taking over as the biology teacher for Miss Hart, a woman who was my mentor as a student teacher and whose shoes I couldn't dream of filling. And I would be taking over as Dean of Students, as Miss Eller was leaving us. Needless to say, I was a little stressed out and overwhelmed. This is a subject I had never taught, with students that I didn't know, in a tested course, and I was also going to be an administrator. How fun. I wasn't quite sure what my new role as an administrator would entail, or how I would balance that with teaching. Sorry. I spent the whole plane ride home reviewing biology content and trying to come up with an idea for my first project, and how to figure out to help you and me transition to this new situation we were in. I remember coming back from Thanksgiving break and opening up to all of you by sharing my plans for the class and my plans to balance my two new roles. You all welcomed me into your lives, some of you a bit more reluctantly than others, and we helped each other with that transition. You were always willing to share ideas and feedback to help me make class more interesting or engaging. You were understanding whenever I would have to run out of the room unexpectedly to handle some issue that had popped up on campus or with testing. You were honest with me about how student lives would be impacted by different campus events and policies. You humored me as I rattled on about things unrelated to workshops, and I know very well that some of you intentionally put me on those tangents in order to waste class time. Through that, I grew, both as an educator and as an administrator. You see, adaptation and evolution, it isn't actually random. It might start out that way, but it requires specific feedback. Feedback on what works and what should be kept around, and feedback on what doesn't work and what should be phased out. In the animal kingdom, this is determined by who lives and who dies. For me, this feedback came in the 80 minutes we spent together every morning. You helped to ground me and bring me back to what was important. As you continue on to the next phase of your life and the phases that follow, never stop seeking new ideas and feedback. They won't always be helpful, but that's okay, because the ones that are helpful will help you learn to adapt to the situations that life will bring you. And as we are seeing right now, you have to be able to adapt in order to thrive. Those 80-minute classes did more than give me feedback I needed to adapt to my new situation. They also helped reinforce my second lesson, learned from the class of 2020. Prioritize your goals. When I started trying to balance my new roles, I quickly became overwhelmed with all of the things that was required of me. Teaching was what I knew, it's what I was comfortable with. So I had a tendency to put it on the back burner and let it go into autopilot while I juggled everything else that I was cooking. You never cut me any slack. Thank you. That's what I needed. You all held me accountable on things I said, which is exactly what I needed at the time. You helped me step back and think deeply about my goals in life and my profession. You all forced me to take inventory of everything I had going on and prioritize that list based on what was going to help with my goals. This helped me realize that I was investing in things that weren't working towards those goals. Now, while I can't say that I've perfected this yet, I can say that you all helped me become much more conscious of how my day-to-day tasks should align with those long-term goals, and to always keep those as the focus. If you don't have big long-term goals, you have nothing to work for. If you don't make those goals a priority, then you will never achieve them. So set your goals. Be clear about what you want and what it will take to get there. Once you have done that, don't ever let anything derail you. Use your goals as the carrot you dangle in front of you with everything you do. Whether that means taking 5 dual credit classes on top of the 2 you were taking at Cedars, or memorizing a fast-paced greeting for the delivery line at Panda Express. Or spending days working on a tattoo design because you really wanted to capture your favorite teacher through your artwork. Or applying to college when you never thought you would. If it doesn't move you towards your goal, it may not be worth your time. I'm sure you can all think of several times where I didn't do a great job of keeping that focus and motivation. There were definitely times that I got super stressed or cranky about things that had nothing to do with you or our class. But what I remember most are the times that you helped me out of those funks. Which brings me to my third lesson I learned from y'all. Always be willing to laugh, especially at yourself. I don't think it's a big secret that my humor generally has two forms. Very corny or very sarcastic. Many of you would often engage me in one or both of these, and always when I needed it the most. I believe you got very good at reading me before I ever started class, and don't think I didn't notice that your responses were often tailored to what you were reading on my face. Thank you again. In those times when I was feeling frantic and stressed, you were always there with a witty dig at something you knew drives me crazy, which is a long list that I'm not going to go into right now. Or a goofy addition to your projects for the sheer sake of entertainment, like being able to talk about genetics through memes from The Office. Or teasing me about not knowing the latest cool phrases and then allowing me to rant about how the English language is being destroyed and misused. You all helped remind me every day that life is so much better when you can laugh. No matter how frustrating or difficult, how sad or challenging, how confusing or irritating life can be, find the joke. It's in there somewhere and it will help you through those hard times. Be humble and admit your fault, because if you can laugh at yourself, then those hard times won't be so bad. And then you can start working on improving. Finally, my last lesson learned from the graduating class of 2020. Anyone who knows me can tell you that I'm a big fan of a few things. Science, the outdoors, University of Texas at Austin, my dog Mac, and my favorite movie, Star Wars. I think it's only fitting then that my final lesson comes from one of my favorite educators. You've heard me say it a ton of times, and I even had a poster of it in my room. In the words of the Jedi Master Yoda, do or do not. There is no try. Now, with all respect to Master Yoda, I'd like to make a little change to that. I believe it should be do or do not, but always try. See, in order for me to find success as a teacher and administrator, I had to try lots of new things, constantly. New teaching strategies, new collaboration methods, lots of new challenges, new this, new that. My commitment to each of you and your education helped me stay motivated and persevere when things got tough. I had to continue trying new things because I was committed to providing you with the skills you needed to be successful in life. I wasn't always sure if something I was trying would work the way I wanted it to, but if I didn't try it, I would never be able to learn from it. That mindset led me to a lot of new skills and ideas that continue to help me be successful, and it will do the same for all of you. This next phase of your life is going to be a very exciting one. This is the phase where you start to really learn about who you are and what matters most to you. This phase is all about getting out into the world, making new friends, going new places, having new and different experiences. As you have these new experiences, things will change. Your friends will change, your interests will change, your passions will change, and you will change. But that's good. That's what this phase is all about. You have to be willing to get out there and experience those things that are new and different to you. Try things that push your comfort zone, or maybe even go a little bit outside of it. Travel as much as you can. But always remember that with everything in life, you have a choice. To do or do not. Or rather, the choice is to try or try not. But that's not what's important. Skip it. Because you won't always be successful. You won't always get it right on the first try, the fourth try, or the 10th try. But it doesn't matter if you get it right or not. What matters is that you try and that you attempt it. The important thing is that you took a risk. Use those successes to move you forward towards those goals. Use those failures as a learning opportunity to get feedback on how you can adapt in future situations. And never be afraid to laugh at the difficult times. It's going to make it easier for everyone around you. If there's one thing that we can all be certain of in these times, is that change will happen. How you respond to that change is what determines how it affects you. Will you try something new if the old thing isn't working anymore? Or will you give in and let the change win? Adapt to the change. Realign your priorities with the change to help get you to your goals. Never be afraid to laugh at the change. It's going to make it more entertaining. Always try and respond to the change. Be prepared for the change. Embrace it. You're ready for it. Congratulations, graduates. Go out and make your change.